Welcome everybody to Co-op Curious. We appreciate you being here. This is an opportunity to get to know the learning team here at CFNE and to understand a bit about how we support co-ops. Today's session provides interpretation, so be sure to follow the instructions on your screen if you need that. We also have audio transcription for those who will be benefited from seeing the text. A little bit about the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast, or CFNE, before we begin. We are a nonprofit community loan fund, and we're funded in 1975 to work for economic, social, and racial justice through our support of co-ops. And we do that in a number of ways. One, we help folks develop relevant business skills that can support their cooperative enterprise. We also provide co-op friendly financial products to help folks fund those cooperative enterprises. And we serve as an investment opportunity for socially conscious investors who'd like to promote socially conscious enterprise.
Porque mire que le estamos diciendo, nosotros analizamos lo que...
Today, we'll be taking around 90 minutes, maybe a little less, to discuss our story. That is the story of the learning team here at the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast. We'll also talk a little bit about our services. In other words, what we can do to help folks who are trying to start co-ops or have co-ops that need support. And we'll also talk about how you can get started engaging with us, the learning team, and even our lending team. One thing we're not covering today is how to create co-ops and how to support co-ops. We're going to be covering how we do so, providing an overview of how the learning team at the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast is currently and is looking forward to supporting cooperative enterprises. So here's the learning team in living color, smiles and everything. And I want to invite a few of us up to talk a little bit about ourselves. I want to invite up Maggie, share a little bit about yourself and your superpowers, the superpowers that could help support co-ops.
Sounds good. Yeah, so hi everybody, I'm Maggie Majorana. There is another Maggie on the team if anybody has met her. So just to help with confusion, I put Maggie M, and other Maggie is Maggie Cohn, so Maggie C. And I just joined the team recently. I just joined in May, so I haven't been here too long, but it's been really great so far. And I come from a background of working with lots of different types of people. And so really people-centered work has been the drive. And most recently, for a large chunk of time, was doing restorative justice work and conflict resolution. And so kind of in my back pocket, one of my superpowers is helping people move through conflict and holding space and holding circles for that. Something I love to do. And I'm located in Maine. I live in Lewiston, Auburn area. And I'm very passionate about here. So if anybody wants to talk about local co-ops around me, I'm happy to chat whenever. And I use she, her pronouns.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Maggie. I'll introduce myself a little bit more. I'm Johan, and I live in Schenectady, New York. That's upstate New York. And I've been involved in community and economic development for the last 10 years or so, helping people create all manners of micro and social enterprise. And co-ops represent a unique opportunity to me at the intersection of those two worlds, helping people create businesses and opportunities that support their livelihoods, while also creating enterprises or businesses that really are able to address a social impact issue. So I love the world of cooperative enterprise and how it helps people subvert capitalism or solve problems in their communities together. I would say one of my superpowers would be being a human being. It's, kind of a cheat, but I think it's really powerful to be a human being, to be able to handle complexity as we do. I view myself as someone who likes to engage with social complexity and to help people navigate that. And storytelling, right? Another innate human being trait. We love to tell stories, and I love to develop that skill so that I can help people process complex information and use stories to help people find their way in confusing situations. So I would say those are two of my skills that come from being a human being, and I like to bring them in to the fold when I help people solve problems. And I'm not sure if Carolyn is here yet.
I'm here.
Excellent.
Joined.
Sorry, I want to invite you up to share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry for joining late. I'm at a last-minute medical appointment with my kid. So I'm Carolyn. I am the program manager for the learning team. I've been at CFNE since 2019. Prior to that, I led a 1.5-year landscaping cooperative in converting to a worker co-op. In 2014, we bought out our boss and started a worker co-op. And so one of my secret superpowers in the co-op realm is kind of conversions and transitions to worker ownership. So I really enjoy, meeting current business owners, meeting current employees, starting that conversation about how can we keep our business going into the next generation through a conversion to worker ownership, and helping folks build the skills to make decisions together and share our power to do that. And I'm based outside of Boston. And is that about it? Cool. So we wanted to start out just by talking a little bit about how did we get to where we are. And so, this is a little kind of timeline. Prior to 2019, when I joined, there was not a TA team at Cooperative Fund. The loan officers kind of did loan readiness TA, but it really assumed that borrowers are coming to us at a certain level of readiness to, at least come with some financial projections and a business plan and whatnot. And I actually came to CFNE originally as a borrower, so they funded our transition at 1.5 years. And our coworker Maggie Cohn, the other Maggie, was really helpful in, here's a template for cash flow projections, or, let me introduce you to a lawyer or whatever. But what we found as our board started focusing more on racial equity and how do we really make sure that the groups who can most benefit from co-ops, which is immigrant communities, Black and Brown communities, folks who've been systemically excluded from sort of the formal economy, that they can really form co-ops and not have a barrier to accessing the capital that they need. The board kind of realized, we have to address the gap in education and access and social capital too. And so they formed a racial equity working group and started, kind of going out into the community and doing these sort of listening tours to get feedback about how could we do better. And that was sort of what launched CFNE having a learning team. Initially, when I joined, I was mostly doing kind of outreach in Spanish and some one-on-one TA that was, more intensive than what the loan officers had been previously providing. And then when COVID started, we really shifted to a focus on our existing borrowers because we had a bunch of folks who were like, what is even happening? So really just helping people figure out what do we do about staffing? There's all this federal money and these programs. How do we understand what we can apply for? How do we make sure we've got our records in place so that we can make those applications? We joined with a bunch of other service providers in Massachusetts to help not only co-ops, but a variety of Black and brown and women-owned businesses to be able to access like the PPP loans and some other public funding. And that really, I think, shifted how we were doing TA from just that one-on-one focus to launching a monthly newsletter to get, if you think back, it feels like a million years ago, but if you think back to the beginning of the pandemic, stuff was changing really fast, and it was like, oh no, we changed the rules. Oh, now these people are able to access it. So we started the Co-op Monthly as a way to just keep up with what was happening and try and like filter for our borrowers the kind of best and most important information that was coming out to help the businesses. And we also started these monthly training sessions, again, focusing most on what were the pain points that we were hearing from borrowers during the pandemic. How do we manage cash flow? How do we make decisions together? How do we market ourselves in a new kind of more digital environment? Last year we had the opportunity to bring on Johan, and that was awesome. And again, was kind of a game changer, I think, for what we can offer with technical assistance. Johan has launched a in-person and virtual co-op convening in the capital region with Yos that he can talk about more maybe later. But that's really become a focus for how do you build a locally based Black and brown small business co-op ecosystem. So that's been really exciting. We also launched in partnership with CDI and Democracy at Work Institute, the Participatory Management Initiative, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. And we've continued to, as kind of COVID relief grants come up, help borrowers access this. And then this year we had Maggie join our team. And that's been really exciting. And she's also been really pivotal in helping us launch the Co-op Navigator Fellowship that also we'll talk about a little bit later.
Excellent, excellent little background of how we got here. And now that we found our way here, we realized that our approach to providing our technical assistance program was really around helping other folks find their way. So how do we help people navigate the world of cooperative enterprise? How do we create content that's responsive to where they are organizationally, culturally, and within their ecosystems as we support ecosystems across Northeast? How do we provide technical assistance in a way that accompanies people? So we're working with them and not for them, right? We're not consultants, we're not developers. We're really working alongside people to find their way and to understand the complexity of the cooperative ecosystems that they may be a part of. So our coaching is oriented around doing technical assistance with our clients and not for. And then how do we facilitate connections between humans within an environment of co-op interested service providers and organizers and entrepreneurs? And so we're thinking about the people at the core of these interactions and how do we facilitate those interactions? And so that's a little bit about our approach when it comes to providing technical assistance. And I think this map, this Google map, is a good illustration of that, right? Where are you in your journey? Where are you trying to go? And our services are around helping you navigate that process. I want to invite up Carolyn to talk a little bit more. Who do we serve?
Yeah, so a little bit about serve. we really, CFNE was started to finance food co-ops back in the 1970s. And as the cooperative ecosystem has kind of evolved and people have found new ways, or maybe not even found, but rediscovered ways to join together and create shared enterprises, we have moved to be able to finance those and provide assistance to all those different types of co-ops. So that can be people coming together to sell their products together as producer co-op, whether that's agriculture or crafts or whatever. People coming together to own their workplace and own their labor in a worker co-op, whether that's an architecture firm or a construction company or a barbershop. Consumer co-ops, which are probably the one that folks are most familiar with. Cooperative grocery stores and stuff like that. And housing co-ops in both resident-owned communities, mobile home parks, and also shared equity or group equity houses. And as our name implies, Co-op Fund of the Northeast, we work in all of the New England states plus New York. And this map, it's not, you can't see it really big, but all of those little dots are different folks that we're in partnership with, whether they're, community economic development organizations, funders, co-op developers, lawyers. So just to give you a sense of, in our region, there's such a rich amount of knowledge and also generosity. And we're a team of 3, we can't do it all ourselves. So we're doing a lot through partnership and connections and trying to help provide social capital in addition to financial capital. And just like we serve co-ops from all different sectors, we're also trying to help co-ops at all different stages in the co-op life cycle. So yes, we definitely want to work with our existing borrowers. We want to hear from folks before they reach a price point. I have a question about, pricing, or how do we deal with supply chain challenges, or how do we reach a different, audience with our marketing. We want to hear all those questions that existing businesses and co-ops face. How do we grow our co-op members so that they can grow with the co-op, all that kind of stuff. But also working with emerging and underground co-ops that are just starting to ask the questions of, hey, we've got a problem, we've got people, we've got an idea for how we could solve it. Could that be a cooperative? And starting to learn how to make decisions together, how to formalize the co-op and incorporate as a legal entity. We're happy to be the first conversations there, and then connect with specific technical assistance providers for legal and accounting and co-op development assistance. And then as I shared when we started out, we are happy to work with businesses thinking about conversion and just having those exploratory conversations of what would it look like to pass the business on to the employees, and what are the steps we need to take to get there.
And jumping off of who we serve, wanted to bring in language justice, because right now this is one of our current focuses that we are putting more effort into to make our services even more accessible than they currently are. So we've been committed to making our services accessible, but we know that this is the next step to try and expand services and offer what we do have in ways that are actually going to work for people. And so currently we have Spanish language access in our workshops, which is why this is being simultaneously interpreted right now, and which is awesome. And we have all of our recorded workshops in Spanish up on our YouTube page, so people can also access them even if they can't attend. And so that's a big priority for us right now. And our other versions of language access around Spanish right now are pretty informal. And so we do what we can when we can but we're hoping to formalize that even more when working with borrowers and working with people within the TA realm. And then the next step is expanding beyond Spanish. And so we know that there's a need to provide more consistent interpretation for our current borrowers, but also to make what we have accessible to people we haven't met yet. And so we're working toward all of our lending and learning assistance being accessible in clients' primary or preferred language, whatever is going to work best for them. Because these are big things that we're talking about. And so it's really important that people understand everything that they're signing up for, whether they speak English or not. It's really important that it's in whatever preferred language people are asking for. And then next, after that, we're also hoping to translate some more materials. So those are coming down the pike. And in the meantime, you're welcome to come to us with any requests. And other than that, what do we do? So the next section, we wanted to talk a little bit about what our content is, what we offer. And we have a couple kind of main sections of what we offer before going into coaching. And so one of those is our no-cost newsletters that go out once a month. And I'll talk about those in just a minute. They're actually pictured right here. So this image is of our co-op monthly newsletter, which was mentioned just before this. We also have our workshops. And so we currently do a workshop once a month, at least, if not more, partnering with other organizations. And we also have online resources right on our website that people can tap into. So for Co-op Monthly, it'd be great if you are not subscribed to sign up for it. It's an awesome resource that has kind of 3 different sections that end up tapping into what a lot of people need access to or need some support around. So, oh, thank you, Carolyn. It looks like that's going to go into the chat. So Co-op Curious is our first section, which is funny because that's the name of our workshop today too. But that one is really based around learning and skill building. And so we share any workshops that not only we're doing, but that others are doing, and other types of learning spaces or skill building opportunities that are out there. We really try and prioritize opportunities that are free first, and then potentially some that are paid. But we try and make all of the resources we put up there also as accessible as possible. And the next section is co-op community. We want to make sure that people know what other organizations are doing. This is also a space where if you as a co-op have a job opening that you want some help promoting, that's a space that we can help out with that. We always reserve some space, especially for co-ops that we're connected with, to put job postings there. And then we also share events or other ways to connect with people within the co-op community. And the last section is co-op capital, because money is important and it's not going anywhere. And if we have resources to share with you all, we will. And so we're looking for grants all the time, keeping an eye out for different types of funding beyond just what we offer. Got it, thanks. And these are just some of our next workshops that are coming up. So in the next couple months, we're actually going to be partnering mostly with other organizations to do our workshops. So this is our last one that's just internal for the next couple months. And then next, we actually have one that is later tonight, if anybody wants to sign on. It's with IPLAM, and it's introduction to like strategic planning. And so it's tonight at 6:30, and also next week on the 28th at 6:30 as well. If anybody wants to come, you're welcome to come to one or the other or both. And the link I can actually drop in the chat right after this. And it's actually the link to the Zoom room. So you don't have to register or anything like that. I'll just send the direct Zoom since that's later tonight. Another one that's going on all through October through November is the Cooperative Maine Business Alliance and Bernstein Sure are coming together to do basically a big kind of symposium of workshops. And so those are going to be happening once a week. And the name of that is Strengthening the Cooperative Economy is the kind of larger name. And then there's individual workshops. I'll drop a link for the registration for the first one, which is October 5th. And we have our lending officer, Chris in Maine, who's actually going to be speaking on at least 2 of the panels, I think October 12th and then the following week. And another one in October is partnering with Boston Ujima project. And that one is also kind of a longer series of workshops, but when our first one that we're going to be working with them on is October 25th at 6 p.m. Going over some Co-op 101 stuff. So if you're interested in any of those and don't get it from the chat, just reach out to us and we are happy to share any of that information again. And this, our last kind of content piece, is on our website. So you're super welcome to poke around on our website. There's plenty of content, plenty of resources on there. And this is specifically, we want to point this one out because this is kind of a chunk of resources all on one page. So if you're on our website and go to the Learn section, that's kind of our section, the learning team, you can go down and where it says co-op content, this is where you'll find this kind of landing page. And so it's broken up into some different sections of resources, which kind of span starting a co-op, troubleshooting issues that might come up with it if you already have one going or getting one going, lists of other organizations who can provide support to you or your co-op that aren't just us, because we also want to promote other people who are doing this work and make sure that you get the right fit for you. Anybody who's interested in conversions, there's some resources on there as well. So you're welcome to look here and then also reach out to one of us. Carolyn's superpower would play a good part there if you're interested in that. And then there's some even like articles in there about other co-ops. So you can really get a sense of what has been done, right? And the last part is points to our YouTube page. So watch this as kind of the list of all of our different media that we have put together. And you're welcome to also just look around our YouTube page. We have lots of past webinars. Usually there's a little description about what the topic is. But it's been a great resource that even when I started working here, I was using a fair amount to learn about all of this great work.
Maggie, can I just interject one thing? For the Spanish speakers, up at the upper right-hand corner of the website on each page, it has an ES for Espanol, for Spanish. So you can get the website, the content that's actually on the website, you can get in Spanish, and also within this co-op content section, there's a section of resources in Spanish and playlists of videos in Spanish on our YouTube channel.
Thank you, Maggie, for that overview of our content. Next up, coaching. When we're providing co-op coaching, we're listening for the questions that the folks who are coming to us are asking. And as Carolyn mentioned, we're looking to serve people at different stages in their co-op journey. And whether you're at the beginning stages or you're asking questions such as, what is a co-op? How do I get started? Or you're an existing or established co-op and you recognize the need for help, maybe with financials or governance, and you want to know who you can call. We're a great resource for that because we provide no-cost business support to emerging and existing co-ops. And we're hoping to support you on your journey by providing those pieces of content, whether it's self-directed learning or training, and use coaching to follow up on those ideas or those questions, or whether we connect you to a service provider and continue to help you as you navigate accessing those services as a coach. So you're able to identify, how am I performing? How is this going to help me? Where do I need to go? So for co-op coaching, you can go to our website, and under learning, you'll see co-op coaching as the second option. Simply book a session and show up. You click make an appointment and you choose a time that works for you. And that'll connect you directly to my calendar or to Carolyn's calendar. My calendar is useful if you're an emerging co-op, you're really getting started looking at what a co-op is and how it can help you solve a shared problem. Or if you're an existing or established co-op and you're interested in solving a particular issue, or you're interested in a conversion, Carolyn's a great resource. And we collaborate to address various issues as well and look at our clients holistically. So once you click that make an appointment button, you're going to see this calendar. You select the time that works for you and you show up. The main thing is you show up. We've got a cancellation policy where we ask you to cancel within 24 hours or more so that we're able to adjust accordingly. And if you're unable to do so or something comes up, we appreciate the heads up. But we typically, if there's a large volume of clients looking to get our time, we will definitely extend, a month or so out for any new clients who've canceled their appointments without considering the schedule and implications. So please book it and show up. We also provide co-op connections, right? We connect our clients to additional resources and providers as necessary. These are co-op interested service providers, accountants, lawyers, marketers, and other folks who are going to provide necessary business services that your business will need, your co-op will need, right? We're also thinking of training and technical assistance. What learning opportunities exist that may be relevant to you, regardless of where you're coming from? What are other co-ops that can help mentor you, or co-op networks that will be helpful for you to join? And perhaps even funders and financial institutions as needed. So when we connect folks, we're trying to connect them to other human beings who can help them. And we want you to basically be able to have a relationship where you know what you're going to get from that person, and we're able to support you getting what you need from that person. And hopefully someday you can pick up the phone and call them and really have a sense that you have a team. Some of the referrals we provide would be to more intense co-op development professionals or conversion support. So we may be able to walk you through the process of what will be the path your co-op might take, or if your co-op was interested in, or your business was interested in converting, what that path might be. We might connect you to that. We can connect you to folks who can dive deeper on governance. Even if we lay out what a governance structure might look like, we can connect you to legal, accounting, sales, marketing, organizational development, and HR, and other services. So there's kind of a lot of relationships we can help support as needed, even if we help you see what the journey might be connecting with those services. And on our website, just like content and coaching, we have a section called Connections, where you can connect to our co-op community. Some of those service providers are listed there, and other co-op networks are also listed there too. One of the networks that we helped to initiate, that I was personally involved in, was the Capital Region Co-op Connection. And this is an example of an activity that we're putting on to celebrate Co-op Month and to celebrate the fellowship that we'll talk about later. The Co-op Connection is essentially a Capital Region-based online learning community for the co-op curious. We've got co-op interested organizers, entrepreneurs, and service providers who assemble once a month, the third Tuesday at 10:30, to discuss and learn together about how we can improve our co-op ecosystem so that everyone can take advantage of cooperative enterprise to solve issues in their community. And we're really holding the space for these conversations with a framework around racial equity. So we want to tell new stories, right? We want to tell stories of Black people doing co-ops, right? These are stories that we're re-engaging, that we're remembering, really, because there's a long history of that effort. But we want to tell these stories to modern audiences through our efforts and enterprises. So this is an example of how we facilitate connection as well. And next up, we facilitate connections to capital. As we're a fund, we have lenders on staff who can help you access capital. And we're a pre-step to that and sometimes a post-step. Before you access capital, you might engage us. And even after you access capital, you might engage us. So I want to invite up a colleague, Rebecca, our friendly co-op lender, to tell a little bit more about this part of our service.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Fletcher, and there are 5 of us, as you can see, loan officers, and we each have a different catchment area. So the part of the world I work in is Western Mass and Western Connecticut. And so we will make loans to help co-ops buy equipment, buy vehicles, even buy a property. We can do lines of credit to help make sure that you can pay your bills while you're waiting for your customers to pay you. We routinely make loans of all different sizes up to $2 million. And if you need even more than that, we can usually partner with folks to do an even bigger loan. A lot of the dollars we use to make loans are on loan to us from individuals, families, and groups who care about cooperatives. Many of these folks have made just very modest sized loans to us, but when we pool all those dollars together, we're able to support co-ops together in a way that none of us could have done alone. Since we just loan to co-ops, we get to really know co-ops. All of the lending team is, really up on the challenges that co-ops face. And we have a lot of flexibility to help co-ops get over those hurdles. Like when we're working with startups, we have a lot of flexibility about how we structure repayment as the business ramps up. And we tailor the length of each of the loans to the loan's purpose. So you have a shorter loan for purchase of a piece of equipment than you do when you're buying a property. And however long the loan is, we'll work with you to make payments manageable, not just at the beginning when we're first making the loan, but then throughout the life of the loan. And if you guys hit bumps as a co-op. Our loan committee meets monthly. So co-ops come in with an application a month before that application gets reviewed. And there's no phone tree. Like when something comes up or you have a question or you need to get in touch, you just pick up the phone or you shoot me an email, and there's no being shuffled around to different people. Your point of contact at CFNE works with you at the application stage, gets to know you and your co-op, and continues to be your point of contact after the loan is made. And it's a long relationship. Usually co-ops keep us in the loop when they're going through changes or they're under stress. And like Johan's been talking about, we can direct folks, the loan officers can direct folks to resources or help or other funders or co-op peers, or we can send you to the learning team, and they have even more options to direct you to. So that's just a little overview. I'll pass it back.
So what else are you guys up to? We'll tell you.
So I mentioned earlier the participatory initiative. This is something that really came directly out of sort of what we were seeing co-ops experiencing during the pandemic, where I was working with our co-op borrowers, and I was also working with a lot of non-cooperative businesses. That makes them sound uncooperative. I'm not saying that, but conventional, traditional businesses with one owner. Through the equitable PPP initiative in the state of Massachusetts. And I really got to see how being structured as a co-op just makes businesses more resilient. They're having like these really robust conversations about, we've got people who have childcare needs or who are, caring for somebody who's medically compromised in the family. And we have other people who really need like more shifts at work, and how do we balance it and make it work for everybody and also work for the business at the beginning of the pandemic when sort of the world was in an uproar. So the participatory management initiative really came out of a realization that we and Cooperative Development Institute had, that a lot of the things that we do as co-ops can help conventional businesses become stronger. So even if they still have a boss, just having a focus on how can we make more collaborative decisions? How can we teach employees about the business's finances and how they can impact the bottom line and actually make the business more profitable for everybody and have a stake in that success? That is a really protective thing for any type of business. It makes any business more valuable and stronger, and also can set them up really well if they wanted to convert to worker ownership in the future. So we developed PMI with funding from Mass Growth Capital Corporation and help from the Democracy at Work initiative. And it's really cool. It's we're going to be running the third sort of cohort this coming winter and spring. And it's a hybrid format. So it's really designed to work for people who are actively working in or on a business or a co-op. So there's 5 kind of recorded hybrid sessions of really good content from Democracy at Work initiative. And then there's 5 synchronous sessions of kind of peer learning and putting the ideas into practice. So, practicing how to give productive feedback, or how to run a meeting where you're sharing the business's financial information and doing financial storytelling with your coworkers. And the participants who've gone through it have had a lot of really good things to say, but especially this chance to really be in relationship and be in community with other co-ops and other democratic businesses. A lot of the learning really does come from that peer interaction. So we're prioritizing Massachusetts just because that's the funding stream, but we definitely encourage any current or prospective borrowers, if you're interested in this, to hit us up, as well as any businesses in Massachusetts that are thinking about conversion or want to just, put the benefits of workplace democracy to work for your business. I guess we don't have a landing page yet for the winter spring cohort, so just sign up for the club monthly and you'll get notifications about how to sign up when it's time.
So I can kick us off at any details if you're waiting on this. Another thing we're up to would be the Co-op Navigator Fellowship, something we recently kicked off and announced. And this fellowship is a 3-year program in which we partner with community-based economic development organizations across the Northeast. And so far we have 5 of them, and we're looking to connect each of those organizations with a fellow that they're going to hire and train and mentor them. And we're hoping to attract individuals who are local to those environments, who are co-op interested, organizers and entrepreneurs, and they're going to be positioned to serve their communities and help their communities to create cooperative enterprise as co-op navigators. And this program came out of a need that we found in inquiry with some of these partners and many other organizations across the Northeast who serve emerging communities, who recognize that economic exclusion, whether we're talking about the rural-urban context or racial contexts or other types of contexts that stimulate economic exclusion, race-based economic exclusion, that left an absence in culturally relevant co-op development support. And we're hoping that this fellowship supports culturally competent co-op development, and that folks in communities are equipped with the information to support the organizations in those communities who are engaging in economic development to incorporate cooperative enterprise into their offerings, so that folks, no matter where they are across the Northeast, no matter who they are across the Northeast, can have access to support that makes sense for them. And want to offer up space for anyone else to add anything else.
Yeah, I just want to add, to sort of like double down on the collaborative nature of this. Really deep gratitude to including some folks who are on this call. This really came out of like 18 months of conversations with, base building organizations, immigrant rights centers, economic development organizations working in primarily Black and Brown communities, and as well as co-op developers of color and folks working in, already in co-op development centers, really being willing to share with us about their experience and like what would have made it better for them coming up, what type of support would have been helpful, what are the hurdles, what are the needs, and so this is it's really exciting that we've been able to launch this because it was so kind of co-created. It had a lot of people's fingerprints on it. So just a lot of gratitude to everybody who's been on this ride with us so far. And also the other thing that's kind of cool about this, although, it points to a sad thing about sort of the nonprofit industrial complex, is that we're just funding this out of CFNE's net assets. So basically money from our co-op borrowers who have successfully repaid is getting poured back into this to strengthen the co-op ecosystem. And the cool thing about that is that it lets us do a 3-year thing that's very open-ended, that really gives space for each of the communities and organizations to identify what are the most impactful things that they could see cooperation bringing to their community. We're not saying like you have to hit outcomes A, B, and C in this 1-year period. So it's really an exciting opportunity to be expansive and to kind of do development work in the way that we think it should be done. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So what's next? We encourage you to subscribe to our Co-op Monthly. The link was provided above, bit.ly/co-op monthly. Look through it to see what monthly workshops are available and come to them, right? Or access the recording via our YouTube channel. And in that same Co-op Monthly, you can connect with a coach. You'll find a link in there, or you can go to our website, cooperativefund.org. Learn, connect with a coach, and we'll be able to help you determine what's next for your co-op on its journey as well. Questions? I want to invite you to come off mute if you have a question, or to drop it in the chat, and we'll be happy to engage it for the rest of the time. Go ahead.
Hola, yo levanté mi mano. Quiero asegurarme que me están escuchando en el idioma dominante también, porque solo hablo español.
That you can hear the interpretation. That's what she said. just to make sure that you select English channel because not everyone choose their channel.
English channel so that you're getting interpretation.
Yes,
and other people.
So please.
Hola, muchísimas gracias. Estamos encantados.
Thank you so much. We are amazed with everything that we are able to hear today. And I say we are because we are here together, more than one of us. And I already made an appointment with Johan. And my question is, if you could also support, we are not a co-op yet. We are an organization, a women Latin organization, immigrants that we have been suffering gender violence. And I don't know if I can also receive your support. We are in Maryland, Virginia, and Washington. We are in the Northeast. You know, we are, you know, on the top. And I just wanted to know if we could also get your support. And I already made an appointment with you.
Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Absolutely. I'm happy to speak to folks dealing with issues across the Northeast, across the nation, really. We may not necessarily have funding and other opportunities that we're developing strategically or located outside of the Northeast, but I'm always willing to talk to folks and help them navigate and create solutions to their problems using cooperative enterprise.
Yeah, and I'll just add, this is where that connections part comes in, because we can definitely help connect you with resources locally that might be able to give longer term assistance or have some funding. But yeah, I think we're always happy to talk with cooperators or potential cooperators as, you know, have those exploratory conversations.
Sí, nosotras somos una organización.
We are an organization. We're a feminist Latinx women who have challenged a lot of gender violence, and for us, it's been a challenge because we've been in an organization for 18 years where we've been sustainable. We lived by the vast majority are indigenous folks, and they don't speak Spanish. They speak their own language, native language, and they don't know how to read and write. So that's why I would value the time so we can talk and how to do outreach to our compañeras. And so we don't know what we're trying to do. Are we just trying to flirt with capitalism or what? We've never received funding from anybody. It's been now like about a year in a healing process with a group of Mayan women from Guatemala, and also how to connect their beliefs and money, and also women of the third world countries. So now the topic of money is we're flirting around. We're flirting around capitalism. We don't like capitalism, but we've had a practice of exchanging things and not money. But it's also called Pacanuaco, which is in a Quechua language. It's almost like a community bank that we have where we save money for women, especially some of the compañeras that are sexual workers. I hope this space is safe. Oh, I just said it. But also, we also have we have $600 that we collect, and then we distribute to folks who need it. If there is someone in detention, to pay for bond or pay the lawyers. So we are 45 women in our organization, actually 60 women in the organization. If we have been able to manage our our bank, our community bank in Aymara. It's comes from the Aymara language, and it's been 10 years that we've been sustainable, autonomous, and I'm not sure if we're ready or not, but we want some assessment whether we want to continue with this or not. Thank you so much, and we're very grateful.
I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I am just going to mention that there are some other organizations and organizers on the call who are doing similar work in our region. So I don't know, Yucia, if you want to put your contact information in the chat if you're comfortable, and just invite people from organizations doing allied work to maybe be in touch. Sort of the principle 6, cooperation among cooperatives value.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Very impressive. Looking forward to hear more and connecting you with the proper resources as Carolyn invited. Want to invite more questions, more feedback. Feel free to unmute yourself or to drop it in the chat.
Hola, ¿puedo hablar? Hello.
Hello, can I talk?
Hello, go ahead.
Sí, ¿cómo es? How are you? Thank you so much. Truthfully, this is an excellent resources. This is a universal of opportunities for us as a nonprofit organization. This is amazing because you touch about every element. You're practically have a holistic approach where you touch a little bit about everything. And I'm so happy to know that this conversation is part of this process, because right now we are also navigating and how to develop a cooperative, a construction cooperative for people of color. And also we want to prioritize women. We want women also to be part of the construction cooperative. And also we want to how to connect cooperatives with unions. So this is an adventure that that are exploring. We also want to explore other ways on how to create the network between unions and cooperatives in the New England area. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I definitely am interested to hear more. Definitely reach out to us. I think we're fully supportive and in solidarity with what you're interested in doing. Thank you, thank you. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? No rush, but we're always here. And so with that, I'm gonna invite folks to carry on with their merry days. Go have some lunch, grab a smoothie, and we will be here. Shoot us an email, head to the website to check out the new resources. We'd love to hear from you and support your efforts. Thank you.
Thanks for everything. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
I think there was 2 people unmuted really quick. I don't know if either of them wanted to speak, but
absolutely. I just didn't see them, but please unmute yourself and go ahead.
I don't know, Luz, I saw that you unmuted. I don't know if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for the overview. I have known CFNE for a long time, and I didn't know all the different aspects that you have, and it's really good. We are in East Boston, and we are creating an ecosystem of cooperatives here with the immigrant community, particularly undocumented community. So we had been in touch with many people there, and we wanted to continue that because I think now understanding a little bit more about the services and everything that you provide is going to give us a good sense of how we can collaborate with you. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Tell your friends. Tell your friends about CFNE.
Sure.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Take care. All right.
Gracias, intérpretes. Buenísimo.
Muchas gracias.
Absolutely. Gracias.
Very good interpreter. Thank you. She is amazing. Hemos tenido problemas ayer en otra conferencia con intérprete. Gracias.
They had issues with interpretation in another conference.
All right.
Sí, por favor. Le dejo mi número.
Ah, sí.
Se lo mando.
Gracias. Perfecto.
All right.
Ay, no sé cómo. Se lo pongo aquí mejor. Ay, que no nos corten. Ahí lo mandó. Ahí lo mandé ya. Gracias.
Perfecto, gracias.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording and thank you for your time.